Hi, welcome to the farm. Today I'm starting more seeds for the market garden and I'm going to be up-potting plants. Well, it's getting close to the beginning of March, so I need to get a lot more of my seeds started. Today I hope to start a bunch of tomatoes, some flowers, and who knows what else I'll put in the ground. And I need to up-pot some marigolds and stock that I started in the last video a few weeks ago. So they need to get into a bigger pot. The marigolds actually really took off. So before I start any seeds, I have to mix up the soil. Now, a couple of you have asked what I use when I start my seeds, and it's a mix of things. I've done the same thing for a couple of years, and if you watch me cooking, I don't measure when I cook a whole lot, and I don't measure when I do this. I just kind of dump stuff together. And I start off with a Pro Mix seed starting soil. I start with that, and I wet it down real good, because I actually put water on there probably about an hour before I'm ready to seed, because it takes forever for that to really absorb the water. So now if that's good and soaked, I'm going to do a block of coconut coir. And the Burpee is the brand I like the most. I've tried a couple different ones. They seem to expand the nicest, have the nicest texture. So Burpee coconut coir. And I mix in a little bit of worm castings, worm poop, and a little bit of trifecta fertilizer from my gardener. He hypes it up a lot, but it does seem to be a really good fertilizer. So I just mix a little bit of that in, so when the plants start needing some fertilizer, there's some in the soil. Not a lot, just a little bit. And when I heat my soil blocks up, when I wet them up, I usually use warm water. So I have this water warmed up a little bit. It seems to make a soil block open up a little faster. Yeah, now I just have to wait for that to reconstitute.
You know, I was just thinking, I can tell that this is a real grow room. Do you know how?
How?
How I know? Because it's a mess.
It is a mess. It is a mess. I've just been kind of grabbing stuff out and throwing and slinging, so yeah, I'm in the heat of seeding, so it's getting there.
So it's just a big chunk in there, a big block.
Yeah, and then as it starts absorbing the water, I go ahead and split it and it absorbs it a lot faster.
Okay.
So you just wait till all the water's absorbed, it gets nice and light and fluffy, and then I'll add it to the seed mix.
That seems like a lot of water for that little block.
Oh, that actually might not be enough.
Okay.
And I like this, I like everything, when I'm planting seeds, I like everything to be really moist. So I have a lot of water in the seed starting mix, and I usually kind of keep adding water. See, there, it softened up some more, so I split it again.
Okay.
My water wasn't as hot as usual. I kind of let it sit for a while. The warmer the water is, the quicker the soil block seems to puff up. But yeah, it'll absorb all that water, I guarantee it. Just have to wait.
Wow, I guess you're right. All that water was absorbed.
Yeah, I could have had even more.
Yeah.
It's almost all soft. You just want to make sure there's still any dry hunks in there. You want it all absorbed the water.
I'm still not 100% sure why you use the coconut.
Well, it gives the soil more, I don't know what the proper fluffiness. It just helps it be lighter and fluffier. Plus it helps extend the soil a little bit. Mm-hmm. I really like it. It seems to do a good job.
So does it help the soil hold the moisture? Or?
It might, yeah. I'm not sure what all the benefits are, but I've started 6 years ago and I've used it every year since. I mean, some people actually start seeds in just something like this with no nutrients whatsoever, but then they're going to pot up pretty quick. So I start with a little bit of nutrients, so I don't have to pot them up quite as quick. They start off with some nutrients. But I'm playing in the dirt.
You know what I see on the edge of your screen there? It looks like you got your chicken eggs.
Oh yeah, they're starting to lay. I'm getting like 10, 12 a day. They're finally starting to lay again. I mean, they were laying over the winter, just not very many. Oh. Just barely enough to keep up with their family. So, okay, I think that might be wet enough to add to the soil. Now, I have something interesting here this year. I'm trying something new. Usually I dump everything in the box and I'm mixing and digging and working my buns off. I'm going to try using Donnie's, is it actually a concrete mixer or what's it for?
Yeah, for mixing, we call mud, for drywall, or it'll mix mortar, but you can go slowly.
I think that will mix stuff up, don't you think?
You want to give it a try?
Well, I got to put everything in.
I think it depends. Here. I know if you go full blast and pick it up, it's going to fling dirt all over your room.
Oh, I know. So I'm not picking it up. But see, it is, the stuff's clumping in there. I don't know. I'll probably have to keep lifting it up.
Yeah, that's what you do when you do.
Okay, let me put everything in there and I'll start mixing it up and see how it works.
Okay.
So now that I got the soil all mixed, I'm ready to actually put stuff in there. Now, if you want your husband to help with seed starting, just get him to bring out his power tools. Donnie was more than happy to help me mix up my soil mix. So that's all nice and mixed up and crumbly and moist. And I'm ready to start some seeds. So I'll start the seeds first and then I'll put these into bigger pots. Meanwhile, keep them under the lights. So I have to fill this up with soil, get ready to start planting.
I can tell you're up to serious business today. You know why?
Why?
You have your gardening, what do you call that? Is it an apron?
I guess it's an apron. I end up not wearing it outside though. I'm always in too big of a hurry.
But you wear pretty dresses all the time.
Well, in the summer I don't. When I'm out in the garden in the summer, it's shorts and a tank top.
Yeah.
Although, who knows, maybe there'll be more dresses this year.
Well, your seeding apron looks terrific on you.
He's a charmer. What can I say? These work well for me. I start them, most plants I start in these really tiny cells, and then as they grow, then I pot them to the bigger one. Once in a while, especially with tomatoes, I'll pot them again to a really big pot so they can get really deep roots before we start. So now I'll press this down to see which holes are
Now that's a clever
soil.
idea. You're pretty smart there, Brenda.
So what did you have to do before you did this though? This was
Spider Patrol.
This was out in the tunnel and there was like spider nests, so he had to make sure there was no spiders in there. If you've watched any of our other videos, I do not like spiders. That's an understatement. Yeah.
Arachnophobia. Huh?
Big time. I don't go anywhere there's spiders. Snakes and other bugs, I don't really mind as much, but
mice,
spiders?
no problem.
No, yeah, mice. Yeah, nothing bothers me like spiders. Ugh, I just don't like them. They're creepy. So I'll get this filled up and I'll bring it back when I'm ready to start putting seeds in the soil. For tomatoes, here's the varieties I'm going to plant. I'm trying a new one for cherry tomatoes called Sweet Million. That was because a viewer recommended it. I want to see how that is, because I usually use Super Sweet 100, but I'm going to do some of those as well. But I'm going to plant some Crimson Sprinters. They're supposed to be early. I'll get those earlier, supposedly. We'll find out. But we're planting a lot of our favorite, Cherokee Purple. If you've never had a Cherokee Purple tomato, to me that's the best one I've ever tasted. So I'm going to plant probably quite a few of those. And I'm also going to plant, it's called Pink ID or Pink Kid, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, from Johnny's. They're actually a lighter skinned pinker tomato and they're lower in acid. I have one friend especially likes low acid tomatoes, so I'll grow them even just for her. But I think I have customers that like that too. And I'm going to grow a few Celebrity Plus mainly because I had the seeds. And this is a new one I'm trying from a viewer too. It's Ananas Noir. It's another black tomato, kind of like the Cherokee Purple. So I'm anxious to see how that tastes compared to the Cherokee Purple. I think they said it was better. We're going to find out. And I'm going to plant a lot heavier in the paste tomatoes, paste and sauce tomatoes this year. I usually end up mixing every tomato I have. Whatever we don't sell at this farm stand, what we don't eat, all goes into bags in the freezer. And then when I go to make sauce, I get them all out and they're all mixed together. But I'd kind of like to be a little bit heavier percentage of sauce tomatoes this year. So I'm doing Amish paste. I'm doing Romas mainly for sun-dried tomatoes because they're smaller, they dry nicer. And I'm going to try another one, somebody I recommended, Opolka? I don't know how you pronounce that. But that's supposedly a really good, nice size paste tomato. So, we'll see how that goes. Yes.
Are these all indeterminate tomatoes?
They're all in, I think they are. I think they're all indeterminate. I don't like determinate tomatoes. Well, actually, Romas are determinate, but I'll probably grow them as an indeterminate. They just turn into a mass of jungle plant, and I can never get the tomatoes right. So, I end up single stemming almost all mine. But I just love tomatoes. They're just so, I can't wait already this summer to look forward to my first tomato. It'll probably be a cherry tomato. But that first taste of a fresh tomato right off your plant, it can't be beat. All right, so I have my little seed markers already. And this is something I'm not real good at. I end up getting them mixed up sometimes when I plant them in the tunnel and I forget which ones are which. So I start off organized. Let's see if I stay organized. But I'll do one row of each of the cherry tomatoes, one row of the Crimson Sprinter, but I think I'm going to do 2 or 3. I'll do 2 rows of the Cherokee Purple.
Now, do you have the names written on them already?
Yes. So I can read it. My handwriting's horrible, but I know what it says.
Okay, as long as you can read
pink.
it.
I know what pink means. I'll do 2 rows of the pink because I do end up selling a lot of those, and Joyce will take a lot. Celebrity, I'll do 1 row. The new one, the Ananas Noir, I'll try 1 row. The Amish paste, I'm going to do like 3 rows of them. The Opalka, how do you pronounce it? Polka? I'm going to do probably 2 rows, and the Romas, I'm going to do like 3 or 4 rows.
Can you imagine how much that would cost if you had to buy those all at the
that would be a fortune.
the market?
That would be a fortune.
Mature tomatoes?
Yeah, a lot. I might even do more of that. This might be a whole tray of tomatoes, because if they don't all germinate, that's not a big deal because I'll have plenty to go from. But if I have extras that I grow, a lot of times I can give them away to friends or maybe even some at the farm stand. So I'll have extra maybe. We'll see how they do germinating. But the first one, the Sweet Million, we'll see how that does. But supposed to be a really good tasting, nice size, not too small, not too big cherry tomato. If you watch my last video, this is my handy seed planting tool. I just fold like an index card in half, put the seeds in there, and then I use a pen or a pencil and just push 1 seed off at a time into the soil.
How far apart do you try to put them?
Well, there's little, like each cell, there's a cell, I'm putting 1 in each cell.
Okay.
And these are brand new seeds. Sometimes I'll put 2 in a cell just to make sure I get germination every one. But these are brand new seeds, so I should have pretty good germination. So I'm just putting 1 in each cell. I don't want to have to thin them out. So that's it for the Sweet Million. If they all grow, I'm going to have 10 Sweet Million plants. The tunnel might be pretty heavy in tomatoes this year. The one thing I planted the other day that I didn't film, I started a bunch of, I can't think of the word, alyssum. More and more I've seen that alyssum are supposed to be really good in the garden to keep pests away. So I ordered a variety pack of white, pink, purple, and yellow alyssum. I didn't even know there was yellow alyssum. So I seeded those all the other day. I'm anxious to see how they do, and then I can stick them all through the garden. I mean, I like them because they're pretty and they smell good to me. But supposedly they confuse pests with their heavy scent. I don't know, you want to confuse pests. And something I guess I'll try in the garden. The one thing I do tend to do, like my broccoli, I do a whole row of broccoli. And apparently that does really attract, like a magnet, bugs. Like, ooh, there's a bunch of broccoli. So I might try to put broccoli here, broccoli there. I might try to alternate things a little bit. So if bugs do get into something, it's a very small patch and it might not attract as many insects. So we'll see. I'm going to try a couple more things this year. And the broccoli I do cover. But once in a while, cabbage moth will still get in there and eat. So I'm going to try some different things in the garden this year.
Is that a mechanical pencil or a pen?
It's a pencil, but I use pencil or pen, whatever with a point, just to be able to push a seed off the thing.
Now I make you those sticks, the dibblers.
Dibblers, they'd be a little too big. I want something with a really fine point that I can just get 1 seed and push it off the edge. That's true. You now are
sharp stick.
He's gotten much more into woodworking. He can make me anything I want. I think that's kind of handy. Now, that's more super sweet. I have a bunch of super sweet seeds. I tried to plant the ones from either 25 or 24. I found seeds from 21, so I'm not going to try those. Now, Crimson Sprinter, we'll see. I don't remember if I planted those last year or not, but I have some of the seeds left, so we'll give it a shot.
You know, I'm beginning to think we should have made your seed room bigger.
I know. Probably should have. Between all the seed stuff that takes up room, and then the other side is just all storage. A lot of storage. We probably could always use more room.
Well, if you could see a picture of me holding the camera,
well, yeah,
all compressed against
it's pretty tight. It's pretty tight.
The cabinet.
We managed, but yeah, it probably could have been a little bit bigger, 2 feet or 3 feet each way, you know? Mm-hmm. Tell Jake we want to do it over.
Let's look at these seeds here. So I wonder how much the germination rate drops off for second year seeds.
I don't know. I use second year seeds quite a bit. I hardly ever use all the seeds in 1 year. But I'm sure after the 3rd or 4th year, it gets pretty bad.
So you put them in those nice plastic tubs, you know, to keep them. Do you put them in the refrigerator? Or
I usually keep them downstairs in the basement, the larder, like under something in the dark. So it's cold, dry, and dark.
Okay.
And now the ones I have planted, I just push them into the soil, and then I'll be covering the whole tray with vermiculite.
So for temperature-wise, that would be in the 50s.
Downstairs,
dark
yes.
and in the 50s.
Yep,
Okay.
and dry. If you have room in a refrigerator would be ideal.
Yeah.
We don't have room in a refrigerator. They're too full of food.
So what are you doing now with these?
I'm just pushing the seeds down the soil a little bit, mainly so they don't get messed up with the other ones. And push them somewhere. And then I'll just take vermiculite and cover the whole tray with a little bit of vermiculite.
So you're not actually covering the seed.
No. I will cover them with vermiculite.
Seeds. I see them right there.
Yeah, but they're pushed into the dirt. They have soil contact, and then the
vermiculite covers
that will
over
cover it enough.
Okay.
Let's see, Cherokee purple.
Huh.
I hope I have enough seeds. I might have to buy more Cherokee purple seeds. Uh-oh. I'm low on Cherokee purple seeds. I might have to order some seeds. See if I have enough.
Sure is handy they come in a couple days, huh?
I know. Well, Johnny's, the thing is I would order from Johnny's, I have to order a lot.
Oh.
So I don't pay shipping, make it worth my while. But I can probably just get Cherokee purple seeds on Amazon too. Sorry, Johnny's. And I do buy seeds from everywhere. I don't always shop at Johnny's. This year I did.
It's just so you get more catalogs in the mail.
Yeah.
Because I know you love those catalogs.
Tell me how that works, because I buy from like Johnny's and Baker's, but all of a sudden I get craft seeds from places I never heard of. I mean, I get catalogs from everywhere. Now, where was I too?
Maybe it's because they have Wardenberg Family Farm in the name and they think, I bet that they need seeds.
Maybe. One thing I want to do this year, I always think I want to do it and I forget. In about 6 or 8 weeks, I want to start some more tomatoes. Actually, yeah, probably 8 weeks. The ones I plant out first in the tunnel, they do great all summer, but by the end of the summer, they're old, they're kind of getting tired. I'd like to have another batch, small batch, coming behind these so I could have some fresher ones. Uh-oh, now where did I stop?
There's always something going on at the Wardenberg Family Farm.
There is. There is. Well, I've still been experimenting with willow. I've made a few more willow baskets, and it's still just as hard. I think I do learn more with each basket, different techniques, different ways, but it's a wrestling match between me and the willow. So I'm still not great at it, but I'm learning.
You've come a long way. I think you're being a little hard on your, you're judging your baskets, so.
I'll show you a picture of the basket. Some of them are pretty wonky, but some of them aren't too bad.
Yeah.
But I am learning, like, how to use some scraps. Is that cute or what? The little scraps that you have left over that you don't use.
Little stars?
I'm kind of more excited about that because it's easier.
Yeah.
But I hate to waste, and willow's expensive to buy. I hope mine grows well. Now some of these celebrity I'm putting 2 seeds in because I have a couple extra seeds and they're a little bit older, so.
Okay.
See how many celebrity I get. But I'm still trying to do willow. I'm not giving up, but it's definitely been frustrating. Tomato seeds are all planted. And I do need to buy another pack of Cherokee Purple to have for later and another pack of Roma. So, but other than that, they're all planted. And I had a few rows left, so I planted a few flowers. One's called Amidara. It's like a Queen Anne's lace, but supposedly in different colors. Try that for the farm stand flower arrangements. And then something called Echinops Ritro. I'll put a picture up. I've never seen these before, but I was watching somebody else that does cut flowers and she recommended these. So I'm going to give it a try. So they're all in here. Now I'm just going to cover it all with a light sprinkling of vermiculite, wet it down, and put it under the lights. I'll put a little plastic thing over it, a dome, and wait for the seeds to pop. That's the exciting time.
And do you put them under lights, did you say, or not?
Yeah, some of the flowers need lights. The tomatoes don't actually need light. They need the warmth, but these need a little bit of light, so they'll be under lights. At this point, I'm going to be having more and more of the lights on in the grow room.
Okay.
Pretty soon, it'll be completely full before you know it. Once you start up-potting things into bigger pots, it does take a lot more room. And that's what's up next. So I want to up-pot some Brussels sprouts that I just planted, was it 2 or 3 weeks ago? They're growing like crazy, so I'm going to put them up in a bigger pot. They will be in that pot then until they go to the garden.
Is that what's on the right side of the screen here?
Yeah, that's the pots they're going to go in. The Brussels sprouts. Look at them. That's like either 2 or 3. Look at the roots.
Yeah.
They're going crazy. So, and those brassicas go out to the garden pretty early, so I'll get them in the bigger pot. They can grow like crazy, and they'll be ready to go out to the garden. Okay.
Sounds good.
So I'll put the dome on these guys and put them away. Where did I put my dome? There we go. Grow. So I started the Brussels sprout just in a regular 6-pack, but they're growing so fast, I want to move them up. And I'm just going to move them up to these pots. I don't know what size they are. But they have a little deeper root, a little more soil, and they can stay there until it's time to put them out. And I'm using, Donnie's been woodworking. He made me some dibblers, all different sizes to plant things, dig the hole and put things in. So this has been perfect for these.
And those are special because those are from like 100-year-old oak from the barn.
They're very, very special dibblers, but they do the job nicely. So some of these have 2 in. I'm gonna keep the healthiest looking ones, get rid of the other ones, and then get them growing bigger and bigger. These are the, I think, Long Island Brussels sprouts. I said in the last video, we're not really crazy about Brussels sprouts, but we're gonna learn to bake better recipes and try new things with them. But I do have a granddaughter who loves Brussels sprouts. So I want to grow
It's
Brussels
all
sprouts.
in how you cook them, how you prepare them.
I grew them the first year we were on the farm, and they did okay. But then we didn't like them. But we have had some that we've liked since then. So we're going to try some recipes and find ways to make them that we like them. Now, there's a little guy that looks good. We'll get rid of him.
So you use the mid-sized dibbler there.
Yeah, I need a little bit bigger because I want to push these far down.
Let's take a closer look here.
So they're pretty deep in the dirt, soil, ready to grow. So I'll get all these Brussels sprouts potted up, and then it's time to pot up some flowers.
So tell me, is it more fun planting the seeds and putting the soil together, or when you actually have plants and you're sizing them?
Oh, that's a good question. They're both fun. Well, actually, probably the most fun is when you plant them out in the garden.
Okay.
Because then they're there. Now, see, this guy was able to split. There was 2 in the pack, but I could split it in half. So I got 2 out of that one. Then they're in the garden, and then's when you really see them take off. They grow okay in the grow room. You give them the nutrients and the soil stuff, but once they hit the garden, they just explode. That's the fun time. Now I'm working on potting up marigolds and stock. And I went to pot them up, and I realized I needed my smaller dibbler that Donnie made last year. His woodworking things have gotten much more sophisticated. So had to go out to the tunnel to get the dibbler. Well, I came out to find my dibblers in the tunnel. I figured I'd check on the stuff I planted. I have some kale, some spinach, and some lettuce, but something got under here and ate my kale. There's a rabbit in here somewhere. I'll tell you what, me and the rabbits are enemies. Let me see if they eat my lettuce. This usually keeps them away from it. That lettuce looks good, and spinach.
It looks like a tornado hit the side. What happened?
It did. I did. Over the winter, we just save all our cardboard boxes and just throw them in here. So the other day I came out and started tearing them down, taking all the plastic off, staples out. There's 2 piles ready to put in our pathways. We put those in pathways, then put wood chips on them. This pile needs all the plastic and staples taken out yet. So
Okay,
this is
so what you're
process.
saying, everything looks like it's supposed to?
Well, kinda. There's a little bit of organization to the mess.
Okay.
So now I got my dibbler, poking deep holes. And these marigolds got a little bit leggy. I had them close to the lights, but they still got a little leggy. So I don't want all the dirt on the bottom because I want to be able to push them as deep down in the hole as I can get them so they're not quite so leggy. So they're going way down in there. That's it. Pull it, stick it, push it down. I'll probably end up with a whole tray of marigolds. I love marigolds. They're just so pretty. And they're supposed to fight against, he doesn't look so good. They're supposed to fight against pests too. So they're pretty and they do a good job. So need lots and lots of marigolds. I'm picking the biggest and strongest looking marigolds here. Oh, and I did get the Brussels sprouts all planted. They're up there now. They're plotted up. They won't be moving anywhere until it's time to go to the garden.
And that's the Brussels sprouts,
Yep.
right down there?
Yep, so now they can just keep growing and growing until it's time to go to the garden. They'll be happy in those pots. And the marigolds, once they're in these pots, they'll be fine in these until I put them out in the garden too. They might get a little bit root bound, but that doesn't hurt marigolds. They'll be fine. Yeah, and usually I would try to pull the whole thing of soil out with these, but since I'm trying to push them down so low, I don't really want all that soil. So I'm just pulling the roots out. That works. Forgot to dibble that guy.
It always surprises me when I see the process. It looks kind of brutal to the plant, but they always make out pretty well.
Plants are pretty tough, most of them. Some
Yeah.
don't like to be transplanted, but most of them have not a problem. As long as their root stays, somewhat intact, you can do it, no problem. That's what I'll find out. I did those seed snails in the last video. We'll find out how they do coming out of the seed snail and either going into another pot or going into the garden. I don't know. Jury's out on them because I've never done them before. So we'll find out. But I do like my dibblers. I like the guy that made them too. Marigolds are all potted up. Now for stock. And it's exactly the same as the marigold. Pull them out of the little tiny things, little tiny tray thing. Look at the little roots. Stick them in the new ones. Good to go.
Well, here's the tomatoes that Brenda planted about a week ago, and they look terrific, don't they? Unfortunately, Brenda's not doing as good. She came down with some kind of bug about a week ago, but don't worry, I'm taking care of her and her chickens, so she should be fine. So thanks for joining us on the Wardenberg Family Farm. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.